So when you say there's a caution on two folds, is this what you mean? Like two folds in the flag?
No,
Yeah,
we're going to put
yeah,
both of those into one caution, John, because I have a feeling there might be
yeah,
another caution coming out later in the
yeah. We're not going to
podcast.
give two because we already know there might be another. So,
So
yeah, there's already a
back to
plan
the
for
back to
another.
the pack.
Speeding up, no slowing down.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Track Packers podcast for episode 9 of season 4. It is a unseasonably warm month, although to some, it is kind of like beanie season. We'll elaborate more on that later with myself, Mason, John Breckel, as well as the Pelkeys, Jessup, and Becca joining us. Becca, it's been a while since we've seen you. How have you been doing?
I've been good. I do apologize for missing the last 2 episodes, Mason. Yeah, it's sometimes when I put Riley to sleep, I sometimes end up putting myself to sleep, but that'll happen when you only get like a few hours of sleep each night. But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm glad that racing season is finally underway. It gets me excited. Feels like summer, especially with the temperatures that we've been having, and it's good to be back at the track, even if I'm not at the track very long. It's good to be back at the track. It's good to see people, even if I don't get to see them very long. But it's good to be back at the track, so I'm glad.
Well, because we have a group chat, and sometimes I get messages from like you or Jessup, and I'm like, Becca, I think has already left the track, so Jessup must still be lingering around.
Yeah, I'm like the last one at the track, and I'm the first one gone. My socialness. It's suffering because I enjoy all the people at the racetrack, and I only get to see them for like 30 seconds in the pit check, and then they're out doing their thing, and I'm up in the tower, and then as soon as the checker flag waves and I'm done interviewing people in victory lane, I'm out of here. So um but as someone reminded me at the racetrack on Friday night, this is just a stage, and in a year or two, baby baby Pelkey will be a toddler, and she'll probably be passed out in the back of the truck until 3 a.m. while mom and dad are visiting in the pits. And yeah, we'll see.
I would put more odds and betting on the other Pelkey falling asleep before the taller does.
Yeah, Becca, you're going to
But,
sleep before I do.
She sleeps like,
but,
so if she's not in her sleep sack and she just passes out on the floor, she's like arms up, like, who does that remind you of?
and not only that too, even
Becca,
at the racetrack, Mason, Jessup might not even, it's not even from a drinking phase. He might not even make it to the truck. He'll just fall asleep standing in the grass or just all fall over into the grass and then he's sound asleep. And it might not even be grass, it might just be a rock.
I don't think this has ever happened.
Yet.
I mean,
This
I
wouldn't
know
surprise
I've
me if it
fell
happened, though.
asleep
The
sitting
ability
up listening to
to
Mason
have
and
fall
Becca
asleep
draw, but
is insane.
Well, Mr. Jessup Pelkey, how have you been doing? Have you been staying awake during the entire race night or afterwards?
I feel attacked by all this. I'm the one shutting the lights off at the tower right now. Everybody leaves me, and I'm sitting there listening to like all by myself while I tear down the equipment, and everyone's like, I gotta go. Well, I gotta go. And I'm just like,
You could have called me. I had a 3 hour, almost a 3 hour
you were
drive back to
announcing,
Fargo. Well, by
you
that
were
time I was done, though.
announcing. And I was
Well,
tearing down, and I was like, you should watch Mason. So I sat and watched Mason. I didn't really
well,
care who won. I was just like, oh, listen to Mason go. Good for him. He's doing good.
It was
He
fun.
should have done a bunch of shameless plugs for the Stampede Shakedown.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
Yeah, I
Mason,
should.
when you are in positions of power, it's not abusing your authority when you are the star of the show. People came to listen to you,
This is true.
and
I
people
think
pay
with
to
more
listen to you talk on the broadcast.
I think with more practice, I could probably do that more, but I was so focused on getting other stuff in there that I'm probably wasn't. Yeah,
Did you
I
even
wasn't
say
getting that
anything about the Track Packer podcast?
I don't think I did.
Oh, missed opportunity.
Well, you know what, John? I think
Another missed opportunity. Yeah, I agree.
This segues
100% agree on that.
into this
Yep.
segues into a nice because there are fans that watch or listen to the podcast, and I don't know, like they didn't tell me their names, and I'm like, well, if you like the podcast, at least like it or comments. That way we can
it's too
know
late,
and
Mason.
show
I hate to break
appreciation.
it to you. You are being put to the back. You're at the rear of the field.
I'm not
I
mad.
mean,
Not John. He didn't.
yeah.
You know what?
I mean,
Actually,
at
I'm going to do
least,
this.
at least
I'm making a
when I
judgment call for
announce
the
Mason,
group. I'm
no
making a
matter
judgment
what
call.
track I'm at, I try to promote us.
John,
Well,
I think Mason. Hold on. I think I speak for our group and for all of our listeners. This is a judgment call that has to be made by an experienced flag official. There's the second, and here's the black flag. You had two chances to do it, Mason, and you wasted both opportunities. This could have grown the exposure of our podcast.
Yes,
Black
I
flag.
was just gonna say that. I was
Becca,
like,
grab your
Mason,
black flag, please.
did you do this during the second night that you were announcing, or did you forget that night too?
oh, I definitely did not the second night. I had
Well.
Mhm.
Becca, I need you to join me here. And if we get to one more caution here, John, we are going to be black yellow.
well, now I
But
feel
that's an
attacked.
if. But Mason, I'm
You
unfortunate
brought this
and
upon
very
yourself.
disappointed to say you are at the rear of the field. Take it pit side. You're done.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
So the funny part about this, if you are a listener or watcher of the podcast, you were probably on the last episode where we already went over this rule book, which I hate to bring this up again, but hey, why not? Since we're on rules, hey, penalties will be enforced once the official green flag has been thrown, and again, the official green flag has not been thrown.
So, anyways, we're going to take the rule book and throw it out to the side. You did not promote our podcast. And being such a negligent announcer, you get the rear.
It's
You
okay,
are
Justin.
officially in the pits. Black flag. You did not make tech. I'm sorry. You fail. You lose. You get nothing. Goodbye.
It's okay, Justin. We have the recap upcoming here really quick, and then at that recap point, we could just throw a caution on it
Oh,
once,
this
and then we
is
could just throw
true.
another
We
one on
can
it
throw
after
so
that.
many cautions.
And then at that period of time, we might just be like NASCAR and throw a debris caution.
Oh, the phantom cautions.
Yes.
John,
This
it'd
would
be
be
like
no
this.
different than any of the cautions that Jessup throws anyway.
Half the time he's just fishing for a caution.
Oh, I know
Sometimes
it
you
is.
have to just do a little jigging motion, and then sooner or later they'll bite, and then flag.
Yes.
I don't even need to say how I'm doing. So, John, how have you been doing?
I have been doing well. It was a good weekend. It was a warm weekend, but you know what? It felt like racing season. So I was actually at two tracks this weekend, which was kind of a nice change.
Yeah.
So
We're not going to be
getting
at
back
any
into the swing of
tracks
things.
this weekend if the weather is accurate.
I was thinking that exact same thing. I was like, weather doesn't look very good this weekend.
Everybody
was
go
too-
somewhere else.
It was too
Mason?
nice out. And then we've been racing for what, 4 weeks, 5 weeks? And
About
like, this is too much. This is too much. We cannot race.
That's too much.
So Mason and Kayla are using their little brain powers to which is needed. We are a little dry.
it is needed.
Dakota.
Mhm.
So half the tracks are a little dusty anyways, so we might as well just throw some water down and tack it up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places that do need some moisture, so we'll see how that all plays out towards the end of this week.
Thanks, Mason.
Yeah, happy to provide services to the needy. Anyways, want to thank all of you that watch and or listen to the podcast. Be sure if you do, be sure to give us a like, comment. We'd love to know who's all watching and where from. That's really cool to see. And thank you to our sponsors as always. So Hitch Harness is our presenting sponsor. Tyler Hall got his season started over at the Red River Valley Speedway last Friday. He got a top 3 finish. So great solid start to the season for the number 60 IMCA Modified. John, tell us about Hitch Harness, because Hitch Harness is a great supporter of the Track Packers podcast.
It is a great supporter. Tyler Hall and his team do a great job. They have a variety of products and services and other things that you can check out online at their website. So be sure to check that out. Again, signature, Hitch Harness, to where it protects everything in your truck bed to make sure that there's nothing rolling around and anything would fly out and injure somebody like Jessup. So, in other words, be sure to get one of those. Father's Day is upcoming here very soon. So, hint, hint to a lot of people, it's a great, great item that you could get for one of those fathers out there to help them out with their truck and other accessories.
Excellent. Thank you, John. And thank you, Tyler, for supporting us on the Track Packers podcast as always.
And Mason, what is the website that they can check out for Hitch Harness?
hitchharness.com. And get a hold of Tyler on Facebook. He's more than willing to answer your questions, any of them that you have. So, getting to the lineup, which is probably going to be shifted easily next episode. I'm on the pole, but temporary, as it stands right now. John is second, followed by the Pelkeys, Jessup, and Becca. Becca, you've been gone for a couple episodes.
I have just cruised my way into that outside starting
you
spot.
don't show up to the race or to the podcast. Much like racing, you lose your spot. You get nothing. Goodbye.
Yeah. Your point average, if you're an
Or is it
IMCA driver,
good
is
day?
just gone through the toilet.
Which
How
would
do you
mean
keep-
her redraw would be right at the front of the pack. And the
So-
feature.
Depends on what you draw.
This is true. She
We
could
can
draw,
make it like with soda and just draw every time.
I would agree that would be, kind of fun.
Really,
He did
it should
that,
be
and then
whoever
he did
shows
that
up.
now, and I was always on the pole because I was the first one here.
Yeah, that wasn't a
You
redraw.
weren't even the
That's
first one
not
here
drawing.
tonight, so don't even. You know what?
Technically, I'm always the first one here,
John.
so that
I would
Have we
agree
even
on this.
officially started?
No, we have
No,
not.
not
Oh,
yet.
darn it.
Wait for the official words from Mason that we officially start the track.
Mason, say the
podcast.
words so we can get
I
going.
say, can you please start?
Stop.
Sure.
Slow. We don't need
Let's
20
officially
parade laps.
throw the green flag for episode 9 of season 4 and get right into who or what are we repping. I will kick things off since I'm temporarily on the pole. Repping Tanner Williamson for the hat, as the Thunder City Speedway is scheduled to open this week, and he is one of the locals up there. And so hope he has a good season. Number 88 with Sona Modified. And the shirt is Jace Iverson.
Oh,
I can't remember what year this is. I think this is like around the 2020 or 2021 time frame.
it's been a while since I've seen Jace race.
Yeah, he hasn't
No.
raced, I don't think, in a couple years, but Jack
Yeah.
Iverson made a slingshot debut this
I
weekend.
saw that.
So the newest Iverson out on the racetrack out in Wilson. So good luck to the rest of the season to Jax. And I talked with Dion Iverson up in Estevan to start the year, and he is always a great guy to talk to. And the Iversons have been very supportive of me and very supportive of their track racing, especially out in Western North Dakota. So that is for what I am repping. John, who or what are you repping?
Okay, so I am repping yellow.
He's repping
It's
a
in-
caution flag.
It's in representation of Mason's ability to not throw cautions. So we are having the 4th annual John Seitz Memorial is what I'm repping tonight. Now, hey guys, what year was the 4th annual John Seitz Memorial?
2007.
That was not correct.
– 2006.
That's also not correct.
2003.
Let's see. John Seitz passed away in 2006. So, Mason, that's definitely not correct.
2010.
Yes.
2011. Ah,
So here's my question to you guys. Can you name the first 4 champions of the John Seitz Memorial?
I think Fagers,
So-
there's a Fagers with one of them.
Yep.
Okay, so Megan,
That'd be-
Mason's right on that one.
Marshall.
No, it's actually Justin.
Oh.
Justin won it in 2008. That was the first one I've attended.
How
Who
about a
was
Wild,
the inaugural champion? Who was the inaugural?
how about a Jeff Wildung? Did he win one of the first four?
No, actually, I don't think Wildung was never a champion of the John Sykes Memorial. This driver is back into racing as of right now.
Yeah, John, not
Johnson.
Zach.
Mitch Johnson.
Mitch.
Yes, Mitch was the inaugural champion. Justin Fagers was the second annual champion. Who was the third?
Did Brad Singh win the third one?
Not yet.
Was
Yeah,
it a
the driver
Wisconsin
that-
driver?
It is a Wisconsin driver.
Chad Mater.
No, because Chad actually won as of the last
Dorr.
episode that we were. Yes. Pat Dorr was your third annual champion. And now this year for the fourth annual, this was actually a day show. This race actually ended on a late Sunday afternoon. And it was a North Dakota champion.
Oh, North Dakota guy.
This driver is not racing currently, but the number and the name has made a return to racing in 2025.
Jeremy Keller?
No, Keller won Stampede, not.
Hmm.
Number and the name made a return.
Yeah, Mason actually saw this driver this past weekend.
Zach Johnson.
No, I did not see Zach Johnson race, but who was in Glendon?
Cole Schill?
No.
You might have to give this one to us, John.
Okay, so the number 75.
Oh, Cody Skitland.
Yes.
That's the name I couldn't think of. I was going to
Cody
say.
Skitland won it. And honestly, so we left that night with only a handful of laps left because we were trying to get back into Bismarck. I had school the next morning early for college. And
John,
at that
you
time
know,
when
for
we
college,
left,
you can miss school.
I know. And at that time, when we left, Steve Larson was leading that race and had dominated majority of that race. Yeah, Skitland passed him with only a few laps remaining that we did not see. So Cody ended up winning the John Sykes Memorial back in 2010 for the fourth annual.
Nice.
You should learn from Becca's past mistakes. You don't leave a race early.
Yes, this is very true. I mean, this is really before Becca was ever in Grand Forks for a race.
True.
Well, this is true, but I think it was before she left the Texas race as well.
That's the Texas.
More
race
than
where
likely.
She stalked Jeff Gordon to the shit.
I was going to say, that was when she ended up at the porta potties with Jeff Gordon.
Well,
Things
cool
that
little-
still haunt him to this day.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, though.
Yes, it does, Becca. He brought it up in his victory,
Out of
not
it.
victory speech, but his Hall of
Fame.
Fame speech.
And
Tired of people following me to the pooper.
he
Ah,
actually filed Bush's autograph that year. So
man.
Good job.
Well, cool trip down memory lane there, John. Jessup, who or what are you repping?
Well, I'll start with the cap. This is Andy Cap's cap. See what I did there?
dad jokes.
Yeah, funny. So we're looking forward to seeing Andy get back out on the track. And I pulled out a shirt, which is kind of significant for me, and it has ties to how I got into broadcasting dirt track racing. This is my very first work shirt under a company that I built, and it's called Pelkey Productions. And it used to be I would go and tape DVD demo derbies, and I ended up having one of the larger DVD sales in the Midwest as I took over. Thanks, John. It still does fit, so I've lost some weight. But this thing basically is what I wore at every demo derby: rain, sleet, hail, cold, heat, extreme. I wore this regardless. So how it connects to today and me broadcasting with DSTV. My first job was at Silver Bay, and you guys will all know this connection, but I taught Barry Braun's kids at Silver Bay. And out of the blue, Barry just sent me a message and said, so when are we going racing? Because somehow he found out that I was into racing and I did video work. And after that moment, I think it was like the very next week, we went to the Wisconsin Cheesehead Triple Crown race. And then 2 weeks after that, spur of the moment, I went on the not Stampede, but Dakota Classic Modified Tour, to which I met Becca in Jamestown. So, long story short, kind of crazy coincidence that all started with Healthy Productions. And our slogan, which was loved by the Derby world, was "We'll try anything once." I
Nice.
taped a lot of unique things, and that was kind of cool. And while we're on this, I just want to take a moment and send our condolences out to the Braun family as Barry lost his father this morning. And that's never fun. It's never ideal. It's a tough situation. And I haven't really talked with them in a long time, but thoughts and prayers out to Barry and all of his family, Jackson and all of them, Remy and so forth. So hope they're all doing well. I know it's a tough time, and he's a busy man over in the Iron Range working with Hibbing and everything over there. So unfortunate situation for them, and just want to wish them the best and send some thoughts and prayers to them. So hope you guys are doing all right in this trying time.
Yeah, Barry kind of helped me get things rolling too, and video production a little bit, and kind of taught me some cool things. And I met Jessup through Barry as well, and so kind of a all-around connection with a
Can we
lot of
go
us.
into
So,
one more story here? One of my favorite stories of how we met Mason.
oh no.
So,
Oh, please.
so for those who don't know Mason or much about Mason, he does not like heights. And Mason came rolling in about 5 minutes before hot laps, and I'm sitting there, and Barry's like, "Well, if he doesn't show up, you're on lead camera." And I'm like, "All right, whatever." And so then Mason showed up, and I'm like, "All right, so this is your camera. This is what you do." And Mason's like, "Yeah, I know, blah blah blah. I'm a camera guy." I'm like, "Okay, good to meet you. Why don't you show up earlier?" So, anyways, he's like, "Where are we shooting from?" I'm like, "In the scissor lift." And he's like, "Well, I don't like heights." And I'm like, "Well, that's too bad. We're going up anyways." And as he's saying this, I'm like, just hitting the button to get us up and going. So Mason's all like worried about things, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, "This is a good view. This is pretty cool. I've never been to Jamestown before. This is neat." And as the night's going, it's like 95 to 100 degrees. It's stupid hot. And I look up to the north, and there's this one little dot in the sky. And I'm like, what is that? I didn't think much of it. And a couple heats go by, and I turn to Mason, like, is it supposed to rain tonight? He's like, not that I know of. Fast forward to the B mains. Everyone's now looking up towards the north because there's a massive storm coming our way. And Mason's like, I think we need to get down. And I'm like, Mason, we're not even rocking bad. Oh, it's not looking good. I'm like, yeah, but the B mains are coming out. If it gets bad, we'll go down. Little did Mason know I wasn't going to go down. I was like, nope, we're staying up here until we get done with the B mains. So we start going through the B mains, and out of nowhere, the wind picks up. And we start rocking a little bit. And when I say a little bit, we're swaying at least 3-4 feet back and forth. And I'm sitting on the camera, and Mason's having a panic attack, to which at this point, he's not even on the camera. And he's like, "We're gonna die," and I'm like, "Mason, get a hold of yourself. We got a B main to finish." So finally, at one point, I think it was right when Mike Hansen flipped, about the lap before, we blow back to the point where I'm pointing up towards the sky. I think I had the camera somewhat at the track. Mason's, like, ah. I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Oh, this isn't good." And I just throw my weight forward, and we go slamming back into the grandstand full speed. And I turn to Mason, I think, "All right, I think we're good. We can come down now." And as we went down, Mike Hansen flipped on the front stretch, and that was the end of racing for the night. And Mason would not go into a scissor lift the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I think that same year, like they had the weird setup of the scissor lift in front of the Nodak grandstand, which was
Yes,
way worse than the one in Jamestown.
I had to set that track up. That was another humdinger of a night setting up for Mason.
Anyways, cool shirt, Jessup, and
Thank you.
very cool how it's kind of connected a lot of us. Which leads us to Becca Pelkey. What are you repping?
I am repping Ty Wilkie tonight. So and then so this is the front. We got a little sprint car on there and a little Inex Legend, and on the back. I swear I'm wearing pants, by the way. See? Pants. Anyways.
Oh yeah, well that was the year he drove that truck down at like Elko and
Yes.
Yep.
I walked up the stairs tonight and Jess was like, "Are you wearing pants?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I lifted up my shirt and there's my shorts. It's so nice out. I can wear shorts and not be cold. So
She's worn shorts like 3 of the last 4 days.
I'm shocked.
I am.
Check her
You never
temperature to
miss
make
it.
sure she's feeling okay.
She looks cute.
yeah, wearing my Ty Wilkie shirt. He ended up winning the IMCA race saver. For some reason, I keep thinking of a receiver.
Mm.
Saver sprint cars over at Red River Valley Speedway last Friday. So congrats to Ty on his victory over there, and yeah, repping the Wilkies this week. So
very cool shirt. And that is who we are repping for episode 9 of season 4. And we move right into the hot sauce hot memory. I'd like to give a shout out to Isaac Hot Sauce Sondrol in the 12S IMCA Modified, who had a good run this past weekend up at the Nodak Speedway. He's had some rough luck to start the year, but it was good to have a good run on Sunday. And I watched a little bit of the modified feature earlier, and look, he looked pretty good. So good start to hopefully good start to the rest of the season for Isaac Sondrol. Be sure to follow his page, 12S Racing, on Facebook, and stop on down in the pits if you see him. One of the nicest guys to talk to. Thank you so much, Isaac, for supporting us on the podcast. Jessup, what do you got? I got one thing.
We're going to follow up kind of like what we've done the last couple of weeks. We got some old drawings and renderings to show. Seeing that our audio only people don't get to see this, we will be rather specific. And we'll start with the first one. It's an old Sean Strand Super Stock, 1996 rendering for a t-shirt design. It's got the Benz Electric sponsorship on there. We just had Sean and Benz Electric out at our house doing some electrical work for a house project that we're doing right now. So thank you, Sean, and your guys. They did a great job, and we look forward to having you guys come finish up the rest when that time is. But it's kind of a cool, very simple red design with a yellow top, and then still classic number 99. Very nice. That's the first one. We got to kind of rush through here since we have a lot to recap. And then there's some fun questions on this. For our Canadian friends, we got a Fast Eddie Turnbull 10EH, very bright blue and orange. It's got the bullhead on there, kind of really cool looking. Also has some of his more prolific victories as of recent, circa the time of this rendering was made. That would include the 94, 95 Nodak Speedway Modified Champion, 94, 95 Western Race of Champions champion, and the 95 Harvest Shootout champion as well. So a really cool, simplistic rendering here, which would be probably pretty wild for back in the 96
Yeah.
era. Today's still pretty wild too. It looks pretty nice. Jay Symes
That's
did
actually
a
quite
nice
a bit of detail for like a mid-90s shirt.
Yeah, Jay Symes did a nice job with it. And finally, this one will have a few questions involved with it. The 1996 Wissota 100. Kind of a cool design. Probably something up Mason's alley, as it's got a lot of pink and blue mixed in, which also plays off of the 96 Western 100, which we've shown a few times before as well. So, John, we're going to question you today. Check your racing knowledge here. Mr. Rainman, stay off of the Western Wanderer. In 1986. Who was the late model champion?
Pete Parker.
Very good. Who was the modified champion?
Ron Schneider.
Yeah.
John's cheating, so
Okay.
Ron Schneider was the 1986 champion.
I like that he keeps looking it up. All right, John. Who won 1997 without looking?
1997. Who was that? Which class?
Pick any.
Let's see. Late models with Steve Larson. Super stocks?
1987?
I thought you said 97.
Nope.
87? Well, 87 was rained out.
So this is why we can't have nice things, Mason. John
This is so
cheats.
true. See,
Everyone
there's
thinks
this
he's so smart. He's not.
there's this really nice, with Soda 100 champion back of the shirt. that
All right,
that I
John.
decided that, I need to grab that before we started doing our memory throwback.
Uh,
That is some 3D chess right there.
I was like,
Alright.
ooh, I know I've got the champion someplace. I gotta find him.
well, we're going to just close the book on this and then change it into the 96 season.
So my
John?
question is, guys, I do have a question for you guys. So in 1996, so we're talking about 86, but 1996, Ed Turnbull did win a feature event at the Wissota Western 100. So he was also a Wissota Western 100 champion.
All right, John. See if you can answer this. In
What's the
1996, where was the Wissota 100 held?
In 96? 1996, it was held at Cedar Lake.
As he looks on his thing.
Well, before that though, it was held at is it Marshall Field Speedway?
Where?
Marshall Field Speedway held the 86, 87, and 88 Wissota 100.
Marshfield? That's Wisconsin.
Marsh? Yep, Marshfield Speedway.
Is that
Never
Wisconsin?
heard of it. That's
It must
Wisconsin.
be. I don't really know this one that well.
It sounds like a Wisconsin name.
It's either
See, I
Wisconsin
started
or
knowing
Iowa. It's not Minnesota.
More of the Wissota stuff, I started knowing more of that probably right around that 96, 97 range. Is probably when I started knowing more of that from the Western and also the 100 over in Cedar Lake.
All right, John. In the 1996 season, what classes were ran at Magic City Speedway? And where is the Magic City Speedway located?
Go ahead, Mason.
I know where it's located. That's
Well,
fine.
go ahead.
Billings, Montana.
Okay, what were the classes?
They ran, I believe it was late models, modifieds,
Yep,
sprint cars,
yep,
and was it a super stock class?
yep. You got 3 of the 4. Late models were not a common class there. It was sprints, mods, supers, and street stocks.
They did run street stocks back then, Ken.
Yep. because back then street stocks were the equivalent of the pure stock division is today.
Well, it's interesting too because like even if you look at the 100, because I'm looking at champions in the back of the shirt,
Yep.
and street stocks didn't actually become a part of the 100 until 97.
Yeah.
So both tracks, Brown County and Wissota 100, at Cedar Lake did not pick them up till 97. Now, interesting fact about this too, you guys might not know this, but when the Wissota 100 was held at Cedar Lake, because of the size and how big it was, because there were several years over there at the Wissota 100 that they would get 120 plus super stocks and mods just at the Wissota 100 in Cedar Lake. It was a huge event. Late models, I believe they almost broke 100 one year, if not broke 100. However, they would start the event on the first night with the streets. Street stocks would be the first class out, and they would run the first night, and they would be done. Because then after they were done with the first night, then
track
they
would be
could go to the
packed.
Western 100, and they could all transfer over to the Western 100 to run the whole entire Western 100 show. So that's how they used to have it scheduled, to where streets and it used to be streets and Midwest mods used to be the first night over at Cedar Lake, and then it would convert over to the 100 over in Aberdeen at the Brown County Speedway with the Western 100 on nights, basically 2, 3, 4 for the rest of the week.
All right. Final question for you guys. This on the Motor Mania of 1997, who was the headlining band for the weekend?
Oh, I have no idea.
It's a rather famous band.
Big and Rich.
No.
Flat
Big and Rich.
Big
and
and Rich, I
Rich
don't think we're
even
even
come
around that time.
Well, there we go, Mason. You get a caution.
For not having knowledge of music? Okay.
It was REO Speedwagon.
Oh, okay.
So a rather popular band who I've actually seen in concert. That's all
Good
I
for
have.
you. Good for you.
But
And
Big and
Jessup
Rich
tried
was
to
not
s-
around then. They might have
And
been
Jessup,
around individually. So it could just be slightly less big and slightly less rich.
Yeah. At that time, it wasn't big yet. It was large.
Large and of not as wealthy as could be.
I hate you all.
Did you name this driver?
Number 17.
That's the
That
number.
is that Ashley Merworth?
Yes, at this time it was Ashley Merworth. You are correct, John.
That is Ashley Merworth.
Who is now Ashley Boyum. Do you know
Who
what
is
year this was?
Ashley Boyum?
Any guesses on the year?
Is this in Jamestown?
No.
No,
just-
she's from over closer to the cities.
Oh,
2000 and 2000
8.
I'm gonna go 7.
It's actually 2013.
Really? Was that late? Wow.
Yep. Yep, there's the car. There's the driver's side. You know how hard it was to find a car that didn't have her name on the bottom of the number?
Yeah, she used to put her name on the bottom all the time.
Made it a little more challenging. I'm like, oh, that'd be a fun one to add to the hot sauce, hot memory rewind. And so that's that segment for this episode. On to the track pack report. Becca, would you like to give us a little bit of your takeaways from a quick night over at the Dakota Speedway?
it was a quick night. So this year I don't really announce anymore, and I'm sure there's plenty of fans in the stands that are probably rejoicing over that. But I do timing and scoring these days. So it was my first night doing it alone. And because Stacy Little taught Lindsay Meitinger how to do timing and scoring, and Lindsay taught me. And Lindsay was out sick last Friday, so I was a little stressed, but it actually was a very smooth night, with the exception of the slingshot feature. That was a little chaotic because some of the kids don't have transponders. So not that time hand scoring is very difficult, but I was probably doing 5 things at once, and I was not hand scoring, so it was a little chaotic of a finish. But it was a very smooth night otherwise, and with other tracks opening up, car counts were a smidge down compared to previous weeks, and but it was a really nice night for racing. Weather was beautiful, and there was a lot of fans in the stands, which is always important. And overall, just a very smooth night of racing. And yeah, it was just a
You
good
doing
night.
5 things at once, that doesn't sound anything different from a normal night out there.
I know, but yeah. So
I'm sure it makes the night go by pretty fast.
I was a little relieved because I could get to the babysitter at a decent hour and pick up Riley and then put her back down to bed when we got home. And then I think I was mostly done with all my stuff around midnight. So it was an early night for bed as well. So I wasn't up till 2 in the morning doing my thing. So that was nice. That was a nice change of pace.
You were probably in bed before I was even back to Fargo.
Definitely was.
Yep. So who all won out on Friday night at the Dakota Speedway? Between you and John, go ahead and fight over the results.
The winners won, Mason. The winners.
Thank you, Jessup.
Driver that crossed the line first
Yes.
with a checkered flag.
You know where you can find the winners, Mason?
I figured John could do Nodak.
Yes.
Dakota Dirt has all the winners.
Oh,
So does my race pass too, but there's a link for my race pass on Dakota Dirt too. Very easy. In the modifieds, it was Mark Dahl taking the victory. In the IMCA stock cars, it was Jeff Hellman picking up a very popular win. He spoke very highly of the IMCA stock car division
And why was that win such a big win?
because it was his first IMCA stock car.
Bingo.
In X Legends, it was Bryce Barnhart picking up the win, another popular win by the fans. Bryce has been working super hard over the last couple years, and it finally has paid off at our track. So
And why
awesome
was that a big win?
because it was his first win at Dakota Speedway. Hobby stocks, it was Bill Hultberg, and unfortunately, it was not Bill Hultberg's first win at our track either. So, still, very big win for Bill, as it was his first win in over a year. Was it over? Yeah, so I'm right, over a year.
yeah, because he won the championship without winning a feature last year.
Yep. And in slingshots, Landon Hallgren took the win, although there was a very large cheering section for that yellow team. I was very happy to see them perform at a high rate.
That's good though. That's good that the youngsters are gravitating some fans and getting some good response from the crowd. So that's always good to see.
Yep, it was a good race. A lot of confusion at the end. But I don't know what the confusion was about. We really do got to work with their starts and restarts. It's quickly slipping into the Dakota Speedway restart. Where they start going midway down the backstretch, and then they're like, "We're going green now," going into 3.
They're just excited.
Which is not exactly quarantined to only one division, but all the divisions have the same issue. Mason, how about your night?
Well, it sounds like it was an interesting night over in Mandan, a quick night. It was kind of a quick night down in Aberdeen as well. Usually I get done a little bit later in Aberdeen, but it was relatively a quick night. And so I was a fill-in announcer for Rusty Rocket down at the Brown County Speedway in Aberdeen. I don't know why everyone's queued up in a caution flag.
Well, okay, so we're gonna throw a caution here on two folds.
Yes.
First fold is Mason keeps sounding like he's, underwater when he talks with his mic tonight. The second fold is did you guys know from our listeners and viewers on the Track Packers podcast that Mason did a great job announcing? I will give him kudos. He's a very, very nice announcer and does a very good job of being informative and calling the race action. However, he needs some help on promoting the Track Packers podcast.
It's like he doesn't like us.
It's like he just forgets. It's like we just don't matter. So
see, John, I think he's doing it intentionally.
I do too.
I don't think he wants to promote us to be up on the next level.
He just doesn't want it to get any bigger than it already is.
He wants us to be a niche little podcast that isn't going to go global.
Yes.
Okay.
People need to know what we have to say about our races down in Louisiana.
Yes.
So
John,
Yes,
give
Beck.
an example of how Mason could slip it in next time he gets on the mic.
I mean, how hard would it
Racing,
be
Becca.
to say, race fans, we have a nice little 4-person podcast that recaps everything that is related to North Dakota and surrounding areas for racing results and also other fun topics. It is the Track Packers podcast.
And
You
yet,
can spot us on Facebook, YouTube, and also streaming platforms.
John,
You
you
know.
want to hear my impersonation of Mason at Aberdeen? Telling the fans about our.
That was the perfect time for him to lag.
It was perfect. It was like perfect.
Maybe what I should do is I should just get like a soundbite to play that advertises the Track Packers podcast. Becca, would you know someone who'd be helpful in that soundbite realm?
Racing
I can help you with
fans.
that.
John, I got this.
I can help you with that.
Racing fans. The Track Packer podcast is social. Like us on the following places and leave a 5-star review so we can read your review to all the fans. Remember, get out there and pack the track.
Mason,
But instead, we got this from Mason.
you call me.
And Becca, if you need somebody to be very good at doing voiceovers and reading sponsorship ads in his 2014 announcer's voice, you know where to find me.
And
So
if you
one
need a
last
background
question.
person,
So
I'm good
one-
at saying things too in a monotone voice. Dakota Speedway is social. Or what's the other one?
Don't drink and drive. Find a sober friend.
This is actually more enthusiastic than the actual one.
One quick last question before I actually get over the recap on Brown County Speedway. So when you say there's a caution on two folds, is this what you mean? Like two folds in the flag?
No,
Yeah.
we're going to put
Yeah.
both of those into one caution, John, because I have a feeling there might be
Yeah.
another caution coming out later in the
Yeah, we're not going to
podcast.
give 2 because we already know there might be another. So,
So
yeah, there's already a plan for
back to
another.
the pack.
John, can you wave your yellow flag? Because right now, when
I
you
can.
hold it,
Did
it's
you
not gonna
know?
match
Look at
your-
this. It matches my shirt, but it
It
also
does.
matches my glowing personality. This is why I'm just a ray of sunshine tonight. So see, there we go.
Can't
Now
really
you can
see
see it
it.
better.
There's a bit of a glare on your
I
screen.
mean, I have to like cover this up somehow.
Maybe a hat might help.
No, it's the glare from the sunshine. Remember, I'm just such a glowing personality I'm just
Could
a
be
beam of
beanie
light.
season for John.
in anybody's life.
Didn't know the sun was still out at 10:30. Huh. Wild.
So I'm just a beam of light.
Would you say it's beanie season, Becca?
Our basement's so cold that it could be.
Because we have beanies for sale.
We do.
Oh my goodness.
Backpacker
Look at
beanie.
this, race fans. If you want a beanie, you can contact the one and only Mason Aaron and Mason Aaron Racing Videos. You can also contact us through the Track Packers page on Facebook because remember, we are social and we do comment and respond back to any type of ads or anything else. Becca looks very lost right now, but she should also know we are social.
So Mason, tell me about this race that you went down and spoke to people about, but not about us.
Yeah, and then forgot about us. Go ahead.
Well, announcing in Aberdeen is a lot different than Mandan because in Mandan you're sitting really high up and you can see everything with like just a slight little tilt. In Aberdeen, you're like right at the bottom of the grandstands and everything's like kind of up close. And especially when there's dirt flying in your face at the same time, it's like, all right, I think I see what's going on over in turn two. And yeah, things happen fast at Aberdeen. So it was fun. It was a really good experience. Got a lot of great compliments, and it was just fun to mark that off the list of like places that I've announced at. And so they want to have me back at some point. I'm like, well, hopefully I come back next time with the video camera in hand, because that's kind of more my element at this point.
Good recap, Mason. Let's move on to Saturday.
We had winners. We had winners. We had Jody Michelson getting the feature win in the Minnesota Street Stocks. In the Midwest Modifieds, it was Lucas the Nightmare Rodin holding off Todd Stark. In your Modifieds, it was Mike Stearns, Superman, picking up the feature win. Austin Arbogast, number 67, got his first Brown County Speedway feature win. Very emotional in victory lane, so congratulations to him. And no surprise, Chad Becker, Hot Shoe, wins the late models. So very nice night.
Too.
I got back about 2 a.m. to Fargo.
Mason, you even got a crying moment in victory lane.
I did. That's a great point.
Becca's super jealous.
She is more than jealous.
I did not think about that. Thank you, John, for pointing that out.
Yes. Becca, have you had a crying moment yet in victory lane? This would be a no.
All right, good recap, Mason. Let's go on to the next night.
Saturday. Hey, you want to just throw that second caution while you got it in your hands?
No.
Well, no. First, you have to talk.
Yes,
we're
talk.
on Saturday, Mason.
We're not doing
I first have to talk. I did more talking on Saturday because I filled in for Corey Litton over at the Buffalo River Speedway for the first of their two-night show this weekend. Oh no, there's another caution out on the track. What is the caution for, gentlemen?
Well, now this one again is also twofold. So the first fold of this caution is that Mason said that there was a lot of sponsorship stuff to announce during the night. That's normal at a racetrack as part of an announcer's duty. The second fold for the caution is with all of this chaos that was happening with him trying to announce sponsors. I know it's definitely earth-shattering over here. He forgot to promote us again.
It's like he hates us.
I mean, he had two completely different demographics for racetracks that he could promote us and just swept us right under the rug.
I'm thinking we would have got at least 5 new listeners.
At least.
Maybe
I mean,
to write a review on our podcast that Jessica could read.
I mean, exactly.
I
We
don't
could
know
have
how to read
reviews.
anymore. It's been so
We could
long.
have new likes. We could have new promotional stuff, but nope.
So Saturday was at the first of 2 nights for the Buffalo River Speedway, their double header to kick their 2025 season off. They had 7 classes in attendance, so plenty of racing action throughout the night, and some pretty good racing in some of the classes. Lightning Sprints kicked it off with Bryce Haugeberg, fresh off of super speedway runs in the Arcus series. He took the win on Saturday, and actually, he clean swept the weekend by winning on Saturday and Sunday. So very, very good weekend for Bryce Haugeberg. Actually, I believe he also won on Friday in River City, so a really big clean sweep. I had to say clean sweep a lot this weekend. In your legends, another clean sweep on the weekend was a long traveler from New Jersey, Tanner Jones in the 24J, who is kind of getting his feet wet a little bit because he's planning to go on the Legendary Tour. And so one of the long travelers that we'll see here later on this summer. And so he clean swept the Legends at Buffalo River this weekend. In your short trackers, night number 1 went to Hunter Goulet in a great battle with Cody Crabtree. They were leaving the left rear at home on Saturday night. On Sunday night, it was Bryce Mueller in the 11 that ended up with the feature win. In your IMCA Hobby Stocks, Todd Gettle got his first Buffalo River Speedway IMCA Hobby Stock win. And on Sunday, well, I'll get to the Sunday in just a second because I forgot to close that window. Sport Mods, Saturday and Sunday, Jaden Pavlicek with a clean sweep on the weekend. And I feel like he has 2 cars because this car he had out this weekend looked a little bit different.
It did.
So
yeah.
I'm really interested to see if that actually is a different car, but that scheme looks really cool, by the way, as well. Midwest Modifieds, Saturday went to Rich Pavlicek racing the Bob Sagan number 99 machine, and Sunday, Jory Berg in the BO got the feature win in the Midwest Modifieds. Late models, Mitch Johnson back in victory lane for the first time in a long, long time. So that was a very popular win. Sunday late models went to Chad Becker, who after Casino Speedway canceled due to the heat, he got the feature win on his way home to Aberdeen. And Street Stocks on Sunday, they were just there on Sunday night. That went to the 2U of KCU Satis, who is a longtime listener of the podcast. So thank you, Casey, for always listening to us and supporting us as well. And in your hobby stocks on Sunday, once it loads up, because I don't have a great memory, Caleb Gardner in the 39 got the feature win in a close finish over Chase Peterson. So that was the doubleheader at Buffalo River Speedway. Announcing on Saturday, behind the camera on Sunday. So a nice finish to the weekend for me. John, you went up to Nodak Speedway. What was Nodak like?
I did. I was at Nodak Speedway on Sunday for the first time in 2025 for myself, and it was a fun night of racing action. Track was in very good shape. Surprisingly, with how hot it was, track was pretty tacked up, so it definitely kept moisture in it. They didn't really have to do a ton of track prep. It was more just kind of packing the high side. Bottom was pretty dominant during the heat races, and it was more trying to get the top rolled in so they could use it more as the night went on. They have one of those new and I'm gonna mess it up, but they have a new track prep tool that like a lot of tracks have to where they can, grind up the dirt a lot easier now than what they used to. And I know River Cities has it, several of the sprint car tracks around the world have it. And it helps out a lot with track prep because it just brings the soil right back up again with the clay, and they're able to pack it back in and just makes the racing action brings the moisture back up. And it was used on Sunday during intermission for track prep, and it was really good. Overall, racing action was a lot of fun. Sport mods, they were good in their heat races. They did have problems in their feature event, but also points kind of got shook up a little bit because Gabe Deshaw was having motor problems, is what it looked like. It looked like carburetor problems, but he was having problems. So he was definitely not at full power by any means. He would come out of the turn and it would just go like down the front straightaway and down the back straightaway. So Gabe finished right around that 10th area, and Robbie Roselli was in, I believe, close to the top five, but wasn't, I don't believe, in the top five. Maybe he finished fifth on Sunday. So points there are definitely going to tighten up a little bit in your sport mods. But congratulations to Cole Hanshoe. He won, and he was dominant in that feature. Nobody was touching him. So Ryder Rayner was in second, and he had a really good race in that 18 machine to get up to the front, and he looked pretty good because the top side started coming in. But personally, I don't really think anybody really had anything for Cole. Cole looked really good. Hobby stocks were next, and they had 16 hobby stocks there on Sunday. And Cade Napbolt got to the lead on lap two, and it was over after that. So he had about a second and a half advantage on Cash Saxon the whole rest of the race, and then Kyler Satrin was in third, and it was just it was kind of clean and green. After they had an early caution, they went clean and green the rest of the feature event for the 15 laps, and it ended up being Caden. That's his third out of the fourth feature event up there in the Nodak Speedway so far this year that he's taken home the checkered flag. In your stock cars, they had 19 of them. And in my personal opinion, that was probably one of the best races of the night. So they were throwing sliders up front for the lead because the top side was really good in turns 1 and 2, and the bottom side was pretty good in 3 and 4. So they were definitely going back and forth. Chris Tuscher and Brock Beater were kind of your two drivers that were up front, with Adam Goff right there as well. And personally, that was probably a great race between Tuscher and Brock Beater. They had a caution come out, and on the restart, Tuscher got the lead back and kind of stretched out for the lead and for the win. So his first stock car win of 2025. So congratulations to Chris in the stock car division at Nodak. And then in your modifieds, that race was a really good one up front again, too, between one of our sponsors, Isaac Hot Sauce Sondrol, and Chris Tuscher again. Tuscher had a very good night. Tuscher was working the bottom to perfection. I've seen him use that line a lot at Nodak Speedway. And he got to the bottom, found the line, and he stretched it out by over straightaway on the likes of Steven Pfeiffer. And then you had Quentin Kinsley up there. Quentin was actually in one of his newer chassis, which was kind of cool to see. He was in the pink and black paint scheme up there, so he started deeper in the field. Isaac Sondrol finished fourth, and then Marcus Tomlinson was in the top five with Steven Pfeiffer right there in second. So really good battle for the top five spots, but Tuscher was gone, and Chris swept the night in both classes, which is hard to do up at the Nodak Speedway.
Yeah, that is a pretty good night, if I'd say so myself. Excellent. Glad you got to go to Nodak for the first time this year.
And then, race fans, let's back up here really quick because we do have to throw a caution on Mason again. Because, Becca, remember when you mentioned earlier that even with the ability to go through and maybe not mention us on the mic, that there's other ways that you could promote the Track Packers podcast. Well, Mason hasn't been promoting the Track Packers podcast very good on Facebook because of the fact of the matter that he has been at racetracks and he doesn't post where he's at during a given Friday or Saturday or Sunday night. So, what did he do this week? He remembered finally to post that he was at a given several racetracks during the weekend, along with all of your other Crack Packers hosts. And finally did a post on that on Sunday for the first time in 2025.
Now, I'm not the only one with admin access to the page, so people can post on there if they want to at any point.
Yes, this is very true too. However, who is the, patriarch of the podcast?
I am the patriarch. That is true.
Yeah. So, mm, 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 mm.
By the way, you threw a caution for me for my mic sounding underwater, and you were like 6 feet underwater there for like 10 seconds.
Oh, so
Oh.
excuse me, John's going to the back, Mason?
So, well, Mason's already there. I mean, he's like a whole five
I
laps
might as well
down
take
already.
someone back there with me. Collateral
Okay,
damage.
so John is now removed from the front row, which means the Pelkies are on the front. John, you go to third because technically that's your first, and that also means
Uh-oh.
we're under black yellow conditions. Everyone's going pit side now.
Yes. I mean, Mason's already there. He's got three
I mean,
cautions. You
I'm
only get
already in
two.
the
and
pit.
You're already parked,
advanced.
Mason.
Yep.
You kind of did what does you in fantasy racing. You don't make it to the feature.
Yep.
You don't start. You don't even start in park.
Sorry for all those that picked me in fantasy racing.
Yes.
Fantasy podcasting.
Fantasy podcasting.
We would
So,
give you another
that-
yellow, but it's pointless.
It
It
is.
is pointless at this point. That does it for the Track Packer Report this week. And so we'll move on to what is upcoming next for the state of North Dakota and dirt track racing with Mr. Dakota Dirt.
Did you know, race fans, there is a one-stop shop for everything North Dakota racing news, results, schedules, forecasts, and much more? You can check it out at dakotadirt.org. They are also on social media platforms, so check them out. Again, if you want anything, including maybe an article or two, you can check out dakotadirt.org.
Stop lying about the articles. Until school's over, there will be no articles.
Hence why I said an article or two.
Just a tip for you, Jessup. If you drive by yourself, sometimes what I do is if I'm writing a blog or something, I just voice text and then I edit it later. Helps pass the time.
Fair enough.
Is
All
that
right, Mason, we got to.
transcribe it for you?
You shouldn't do that. It's very
Well,
dangerous.
we have another caution because no wonder he runs over raccoons and
Listen.
loses his license plate.
Innocent raccoons are dying because he's voice to texting himself. Anyways,
well,
it's,
you
We
are
just
on one
peel
tonight,
off
aren't
more
you?
of the layer.
I don't know how many more black flags I can throw out.
Don't say you all like we are all ganging up on you. I think there's just two people who are really ganging up on you.
I haven't
No, I
done
think
much
John's
lately.
on one tonight because I don't know. He's a little too glowing tonight, I guess.
It's the ray of
Anyways.
sunshine.
I said anyways. Let's get going.
He shirks the caution flag. Everything we say is a caution flag.
I haven't thrown a caution flag since Mason went out.
That was 5 minutes ago. Yippee skippy.
That was like 20 minutes ago, but with this edited cut, maybe 5 minutes ago. Anyways, May 15th, the Cheyenne Speedway is going to be kicking off their season. It looks like that's what it says.
Do you say 5th or 15th?
He said 15th.
Is that
Okay.
15?
Just making sure.
You're in
And
the pits,
with
you
that,
don't matter.
We are going to have a new flag come out. Hold your line, sir. Get into the concession stand line because that's the only line you're going to be holding.
Thank you for waving the blue and yellow flag. It almost matches your shirt.
Thank you. As they will be kicking off their season, they will be having Wissota Street Stocks, Wissota Midwest Mods, Gen X Late Models, Mason's favorite class, NX Legends, Hobby Stocks, and short trackers. That will be on Thursday. Now, on the 16th, Dakota Speedway will be in action along with River Cities and Red River Valley. Let's
Say a
see if
prayer
there's
that-
anything exciting happening.
Say a prayer that isn't rain.
Now, Red River has Meet the Drivers hobby stocks, and that's about the only interesting note of that night, as everyone else will be regular racing. The 17th, it will be the Estevan Motor Speedway, as they have a looks to be regular night, along with Devil's Lake Speedway, as they will be hosting the NLRA late models. John, I'm just asking, is this the first night for
It's the
NLRA?
opener.
Oh,
Yep, it'll be
that'll
the
be
opener.
exciting. Should be a good car count there. If you're a Wissota late model fan, that'd be the place to head to for the weekend, I think. The River Cities probably will also draw some good numbers as others NLRA guys are be making the tow further west the next day. I believe, John, also correct me if I'm wrong here, Jamestown will be hosting a test and tune on Saturday. Looks like the start time I have is
4 to 8.
4 to 8 p.m. And anybody with a race car or a Pulse is invited out to the Jamestown Speedway. So that will be Saturday. And on Sunday, the Nodak Speedway continues on with their season points battle. Mother's Day special as well. IMCA Mods, IMCA Stock Cars, IMCA Sport Mods, and IMCA Hobby.
Oh my
Is it a
goodness.
special?
That is a legit caution. I'm sorry,
That
dude.
is
Oh.
a definite caution.
That's the 18th. Whatever. That's what I have wrote down, so it's not a caution. So bleep you guys.
And did he get the right classes too?
I did.
What classes were they?
IMCA classes, John.
Were they all 5 or were there only 4?
I don't know, John. We're moving on. The following week,
caution.
the following week, John, you're already in the pits.
He's
Oh, I
already
only get
in the-
one caution. You're joining me.
All right, I'll be. Well, actually, well, John, here's your black flag. We were under black and yellow, but considering that you did not understand that, Becca is our poll leader because she's the only one who has not taken a black flag yet.
I
know,
haven't
I'm
checked
second.
like the progression of caution flags. I think John was the last one.
So I'll be in third. You'll
I
be in
was, so
second,
I'm in the
John.
pits too. Yes, I am. I'm already in the pits because I was the last one.
I don't know if
Yep,
you
because
are.
Mason
Well,
got 3.
well. You all are.
Yep.
So regardless of what happens,
Becca's on the
tonight,
track. She's the last one.
Becca is our winner for the night. I will take second. John will take third, and Mason does not get any show up points because he did not make it to the feature.
Mason got DQ'd.
Yep, he was disqualified for unsportsmanlike conduct towards the other podcasters.
Can't wait for the rules panel to a review of this week's race. And
Anyways, I don't care. Anyways, the following week looks to be, let's just be honest, folks. This week, if anybody gets the race, it's probably going to look like maybe Nodak, but everybody else is probably going to get slammed with weather, and Mother Nature's going to take the checkered flag, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Estevan might be safe, but it might be cold.
Yeah, and it might be to where it's going to be dependent on how quickly the system goes through and how much rain is actually physically going to fall. Because even with the rain that maybe doesn't fall, it looks like it's going to be really chilly and windy.
Yeah,
Dakota Speedway is going to have tack.
Well, and so it'll be interesting once this weekend rolls around, and hopefully a lot of the tracks get their racing in. But especially if you're up in the Nodak Speedway, according to Jessup, you get another Mother's Day celebration. So there you go.
You know what? I appreciate my wife and the fact that she is a mother. So why not have another one, Becca? You deserve it.
you have another baby.
Yeah, Becca, why not have
No.
another baby? I mean, you just said have another one. So, I mean,
So-
there you go.
Well, anyways,
And on to the
No.
next topic.
With that, John, here's Becca's black flag. Or actually, you know what? I'll be nice to Becca. I'll be nice. I'll retract the black flag. Hold your line. Hold your line.
that is a way more appropriate flag for this situation.
That's why I retracted the black and went to the blue and the striped yellow and blue.
Well, as far as outside the state of North Dakota racing, KRA Speedway slated to open on the 15th, this Thursday. On Friday, we have Brown County Speedway back in action along with the Fiesta City Speedway, I-94 Speedway, Princeton, and Red Cedar Speedway. Saturday, the 17th, we have Cedar Lake, North Central, Ogilvie, Viking Speedway, and Rice Lake with their kids' nights. So that's going to be a popular night for the kids. And Sunday the 18th, Buffalo River Race Park is back in action. Casino Speedway going to slate to open their schedule after canceling this last one, and Granite City Motor Park will be racing as well. So a few more tracks slated to open up this week, hopefully, pending Mother Nature. But we might experience all 4 seasons in a span of a week and a half. So welcome to the Midwest.
Yep.
And so with that, we will display the white flag and give a shout out to our other sponsor, Brody Carlsrud in the B1 IMCA stock car, starting to get some more races in under his belt. Got that new car out at the Red River Valley Speedway this weekend, and I know he was really excited about that. Had a great time this weekend, and I believe he also went over to the North Central Speedway. I know he likes that track as well, and so be sure to stay up to date on Brody's racing at Brody Carlsrud B1 Racing, and also check out his podcast, The Real Deal with B1, to understand all the ins and outs of his racing adventures. And thank you, Brody, for supporting us on the podcast. John, I'll be nice and let you go first on your wins of the week.
Okay, so I've got 3. So my first win of the week is going to go to Jory Berg. Jory won all 3 features that he was in this past weekend. And it's nice to see him back in the WISSOTA Midwest Modified class after having an injury last year that required surgery and kind of took him out for the rest of the year, except for kind of the end of the year specials in October. That was about the only time that he truly saw the racetrack besides before the month of basically July and June. So yeah, so unfortunately, nice to see Jory back on the track and back to winning. So congratulations, Jory, on a huge weekend. My second win of the week is going to Chris, the Crowbar Tusher. Chris swept the weekend up at the Nodak Speedway and has had a very nice start to his 2025 season. I'm excited to see how he does as we continue into the summer months because he'll be traveling around the state. He does a lot of travel, usually throughout the state of North Dakota for hitting various tracks. And then also seeing him on the Dakota Classic Modified Tour. I hope he runs both cars. That would be a lot of fun to watch him on the tour itself. So congratulations, Chris, on a great weekend. And my third win of the week, I'm going to leave one for Jessup and Becca here. I am going to have to give the win to the Jeff Provenzino camp over at the Vikings Speedway for the WISSOTA Challenge Series. So congratulations to Jeff on a big win over in Vikings this past weekend in Alexandria for the Challenge Series.
Get set wins to start off the segment. You took one of mine off the list, so now I gotta think on the fly here. Becca or Jessup, which one of you want to go first?
Becca can go.
Go ahead, Becca.
Sure, I don't want to have to hear you complain if I steal one of yours.
Oh, you will. I know you will.
All right. My first one of the week goes to Bland Bohannon. He is the new track president up at the Wilson Basin Speedway, and they just kicked off their 2025 racing season. And I know Friday night they had, I know in the past that track has had a reputation of being a track that has a lot of character. And Bland and his team have worked really hard behind the scenes to really turn this season around and really change that perspective of the Wilson Basin Speedway. And I know on Friday night there were a lot of compliments in Victory Lane about how great the track was. So I think they are definitely on the right path to turning Wilson Basin Speedway around to be a place that drivers will want to race at. I know it's not perfect. There's still things for them to improve on. I think that's could be said about any racetrack, but I'm glad to see positive things out of Williston, and I hope to see more drivers go out and support those guys. So my first one of the week goes to Bland, but I think that's kind of a umbrella for a lot of the volunteers and the board members from that work behind the scenes up there. So nice job, guys. My second one of the week goes to young Libby Keller. She led a majority of her slingshot feature race down at the Dakota Speedway this past Friday night, and the crowd was going wild for her as she was leading lap after lap. Unfortunately, a last lap caution um, ended the race a lap short, and she just got edged at the finish line. It was so close, and so as fast as she was on Friday night, I think there's a win in her future, and I think it's a promising start to her slingshot career, and I hope she keeps it up. So my second win of the week goes to Libby Keller for her very impressive performance on Friday night, and then I'm going to go with my third and final win of the week. I'm going to go with Jeff Hellman. He had a very impressive run on Friday night. He's had a really good start to his season overall. For folks who may not know, he purchased the old Hunter Dhammakala IMCA stock car, so it has been fast out of the trailer all season, and so he finally put everything together and completed a solid race from start to finish and picked up his very first IMCA stock car feature victory down at the Dakota Speedway. And then, as Jessup alluded to earlier in the podcast, he mentioned that he really likes the stock cars and is glad that Dakota Speedway made the transition from Wissota Street Stocks to IMCA stock cars. So, congratulations to Jeff Hellman on his very first IMCA stock car feature.
Another good set of wins. Jessup, go ahead.
Yes, Mason, I'm making some final adjustments to my docket of winners as it appears 5 of my 10 have been taken from me.
Well,
That's
good on you
okay.
that you had 10.
Yeah,
So-
I'm here. I'm focused. Even in the pits, I'm still locked
I
in.
offered to let you go before me.
Yeah, well, you haven't been here, and I just wanted to hear you take the ones that I would pick. That's why great minds think alike. For all of our fans that are only listening to audio, I gave a nice wink to my wife, who is still on the poll because she's number 1 in my heart and on the podcast tonight. Anyways, on to more important things than that. My winners of the week, I'm going to start it with Kevin Burdick, who kicked off the challenge series with a victory. He beat a hard charging and a very fun spirited battle with Don Shaw over at the I-94 Speedway, which he had to do it and defeat a very large field of cars of 37 Wissota late models that checked in. So he beat pretty much, not I wouldn't say all of the best, but he certainly handled quite a few of the best in the business for Wissota late models. So he did pretty good there. My second one, let's go with Cole Gresseth, as he took home 2 wins and a 3rd place this weekend. He took first at River Cities and at Devil's Lake, and then finished 3rd at Buffalo River on Sunday. So he'll get my second win of the week. And the 3rd win of the week goes to the Lake Holcomb bus at Cedar Lake, as the Lake Holcomb bus took the very prized and coveted win. And yeah, so those are my 3 wins for this week.
Excellent 3 wins.
Mason, why did you freeze?
I froze, you froze on my screen, but I'm like, the audio's still going, so I'm like, I'm not touching anything.
Mason had his thumb up.
Yeah,
Good
he
job.
had his thumb up. I think he was trying to give another number 1 signal.
Actually, I think that was Becca that did the thumbs up, didn't she?
No, that was you. It was
I
on.
didn't
We're
touch
just
a
not
button.
sure.
Well,
It
Mason,
appeared in
it
my
was
corner,
on
but I didn't touch a
your
button.
it was on your screen. So, again, Mason will have to just bring this out tonight. Well, Mason, hold your line and stay in your pit, or hold the line to head towards the exit. So we'll have you wrap this up, and then we'll get going.
Believe me, I've been heading for the exits very swiftly tonight.
Whoa, 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 whoa. We have to follow the agenda, Mason
We
Rose.
do.
We have agenda items.
Yeah,
Did you know
Mason, you
there
still
is an
need to give
agenda
us your
for this?
winners.
I know. I think that's what Jessup was referring to. See, I was being nice to you, Jessup, assuming you knew what the agenda was.
Well, because all of you are trying to rush the gun, there's another caution to Becca, which is, thank you, John. You get the black flag. Nobody wins tonight. It is a full field forfeit.
Becca, can you do me a favor? If Jessup ever loses his job as a teacher, can you like submit a resume to the powers at NASCAR? Because he would make a great race director there.
Can do.
There is a blade of grass on the track.
For me to
Phantom
do that.
caution. Yeah,
He doesn't need to lose his job for me to do that.
you should. That would be interesting to see what they would respond. Hi, I am Jessup Pelkey. I am a NASCAR official enthusiast. Seeing the current issues in NASCAR and the lackluster capability to stay consistent, I feel I am your number one contender to take over the role of race director. We will not have this crap ruin my sport.
You know what's funny about this, guys? I just thought of another caution on Mason. I'm gonna hold it though.
Thank you. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Mason, get to it.
Yeah, my wins of the week. Let's go with Cole Hanshew because last week he wrecked in the heat race and didn't even get to start the feature. So
I just
he had
want
to
you
do a
know
lot of work.
that was on the docket.
Good job, Jessup. So to come back from that and get a feature win, kudos to you with that bent fast chassis, as he likes to call it. Second win of the week goes to Mitch Johnson. I can't believe John or Jessup didn't mention Mitch Johnson, but that was his first feature win since I think 2013. So I actually got to interview him in Victory Lane. He's like, yeah, if I wasn't going to win this year, I was going to quit again. And I'm like, oh, man. So means he's hopefully sticking around. So congratulations, Mitch Johnson, on the win there. Third win, I'm giving it to kind of a racetrack and social media group. River City Speedway opened up their season last Friday, and a lot of the tracks kind of do like the countdowns with like matching the numbers of their cars. River City's kind of did a cool thing where they were doing videos with a lot of their drivers as the days counted down to zero. And so I thought that was really cool to kind of take it up an extra notch. And so kudos to you, River City Speedway Social, on doing that. And I thought that was a really cool thing in lieu of their season opener. So those are our wins of the week. Anyone have any latest and greatest paint schemes to finish out the episode?
Ooh, I like Jaden Pavlicek's second scheme, maybe on his second car. I think that paint scheme is really nice. Keep going.
That was good.
Becca?
Job.
It's different for him. Instead of him being all orange, it's black with highlights of orange. So I thought it was very different and I liked it. So and I'm not saying that just because I wore the shirt tonight. I did not plan that. That was a happy accident. So
A nice little happy accident. I like Maddie Swinson's Midwest Modified, number 52 out of Minnesota. Of course, it's got pink in it, so it's automatically kind of to the top of my list. And so that was one of the ones that stood out this week.
Who's the Sport Compact or the Hornet, the number 90 you sent us?
Number 90. That is Craig Anderson from the Alexandria area.
Oh, that looks cool. I like his.
I thought you would like that one.
It's got a military theme to it. It's got a little bit of the shark racing jaws to it. And yeah.
Did any of us mention Logan Schmidt's Modified before?
I don't think yet. I think maybe way back, but yeah.
I like that one. That one's really cool.
I also like Hudson Hooker's car this year. I like the purple, gray, and white.
Yeah, and he's switching classes. He was in the hobby stocks before and trying out the Midwest Modified, so still getting his feet wet in that, and hopefully that transition goes well for him as well.
I really like Nitro Jimmy Williams Street Stock. That's a different paint scheme for him this year. So that one is definitely something that's going to be a little bit different on the track from what he customly has.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of schemes out there that are they're still being worked on as we've seen the last week or so, and so I'm sure there's going to be, and even a lot of tracks that haven't opened up yet. There's a lot of drivers that haven't raced their first race of the year, and so I'm sure we'll have a few more schemes here before we close this month out. So, any closing thoughts as we wrap up a caution-filled episode 9 of the Track Packers podcast? Actually, maybe we should do it like this. Maybe this is a fitting end.
We had
This
two
will-
races
this-
that honestly went in like this, so it's okay. My closing thought is it's gonna be a cool, chilly, potentially rainy weekend. It's a perfect weekend for a beanie. And if you need a beanie, you can talk to Mason to get a Track Packers podcast beanie. And Mason, that's how you promote the podcast.
Thank you. I should know how to promote podcasts because I promote Brody's every single episode. So, yeah.
And yet he
Hey.
doesn't promote us.
I mean, he tries to promote Tyler each and every episode, but it kind of falls to the wayside most
He
of the time.
does struggle from time to time with that.
I do, yes. I do struggle once in a while with that. Once in a while. Let's call it once in a while.
Mason, when's your next recording gig? Do I have to write little PA notes for you, or cut some sound bites for you so you can record the podcast?
Can you get them done by Thursday? Because if we race in Lisbon on Thursday, I'll kind of need them.
Perfect.
Are
I
you
can do
announcing
that.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Look at you go.
So, hey, I have a chance to redeem myself. Maybe if I remember to promote the podcast, I can get my cautions rescinded. How about that?
No.
I should have said this one.
Yeah, you know
Randy
what?
finds
I
stock car.
agree. I agree, Mason. You can get your cautions reset for the next podcast. Everybody can get their cautions reset for the next podcast.
That would be nice.
I am a fair race director. Stern, but fair. Cruel, but fair. And
To be
just.
continued.
For Pete's
So that'll
sake.
do it for the episode 9 of season 4 for the Track Packers podcast. As always, be sure to like, share, and comment. And please let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to know who is all watching our show. Thank you to our sponsors, Hitch, Harness, The Real Deal with B1, and Isaac Hot Sauce Sondrol. We'll see what the weather Mother Nature has for us this weekend for racing, but either way, we hope to see you out there packing the track.